Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan with a Starfield news video. And hey, if you love Starfield, Fallout, and the Elder Scrolls, and you're not subscribed yet to the KingFanMan channel, why not? Bethesda's all I talk about here, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Starfield just got a massive update with free lanes and Terran Armada, and of course, all new players are hitting the settled systems, with PlayStation players now getting their hands on Starfield for the first time. But what can we expect in the future for Starfield? Both Todd Howard and Tim Lamb have confirmed they are going to continue to work on future content for Starfield, and that means updates, DLCs, and creations will be coming.
But no, we're doing more Starfield stuff coming up. We've been laying that out, and so it's something we see continuing, for a while. We also have all the creators. They're doing amazing stuff in the game, so I think working with them also kind of keeps really good content coming into the game, and we're going to be a part of that as well.
Now, I have to mention this just briefly. Notice Todd just said that they, meaning Bethesda, will be involved in the upcoming creations for Starfield. The truth is, Bethesda Game Studios is actually funding several creators, and in some cases, helping them in the development of some of the upcoming big creations. And when I say big, I mean DLC-sized creations. In many of these cases, Bethesda has an idea for a questline, or some lore or faction they want to expand on, but they simply don't have the time or manpower to tackle it right now since they're working on so many things. So they have contacted some of their trusted creators like Kingath and others with these ideas, and as I said before, they are helping fund the projects and even helping with the development. The idea is to bring much more content to the game than they ever could by themselves. It is a great way to bring much more DLC-size expansions to Starfield. I cannot wait to see and play some of these massive creations coming very soon to the game. But what can we expect from Bethesda themselves in the future? Well, other than what Todd said about the future, we didn't know very much at all. In fact, speaking to Games Radar when asked about the future content for Starfield, Tim Lamb said, "There is more to come for Starfield, but I won't go into specifics. When we launch a game, our plan is always long-term support." He went on to say, "I think there's things that still excites the team. There are still lore and places that we are excited to explore. Those will be the things that we are chasing after." We also heard that Bethesda is closely watching the response to the Free Lanes and Terran Armada release, and the future updates will be somewhat based on how well people respond to these new updates. This was about all the information we had until studio art director for Bethesda, Istvan Pili, gave a short interview. Pili said, "We intend to keep doing updates, whether or not they are small or massive or somewhere in between. We definitely plan to keep going. It's not like this is the end of Starfield." Notice Pili talked about the possibility of future content being massive or small or somewhere in between. Again, I believe this goes back to Todd Howard's comments about watching the response to Terran Armada and Free Lanes. In other words, Bethesda is going to make their plans going forward based on how players feel about this round of updates, and no doubt how many players stick around for more than a few days. If the number of PlayStation players and those coming back to play the updates helps Starfield's overall player retention numbers, which has not been good to be honest, but if that changes for the positive, you can expect Bethesda to respond with massive size DLC content in the future. Pili goes on to say, "We have talked about so many different versions of DLCs that we want to do that address different parts of the game. The list is crazy." This is super exciting and could mean an incredible future for Starfield if it can maintain a strong player base. In fact, Bethesda has characterized this new update as the beginning of a new era for Starfield. This all sounds super promising, but what specifically might we see from Bethesda going forward? Well, Tim Lamb has talked about the need to focus more on the Starborn, learning about their origin and more about the lore of the creators, those who built the temples and are responsible for the artifacts that the main story is focused on searching for. If you stop and think about it, we know very little about the creators, who they are they still around? How do they feel about you and the current Starborn? This is a subject that definitely needs more explanation and is ripe for a future DLC. We do know that shortly after the launch of Starfield, Bethesda filed for a trademark entitled Starborn. This is very likely the name and subject of an upcoming DLC, and hopefully it will be massive in size. I cannot wait to get more information in this area because I've always felt like the main story was more of a to be continued instead of a the end. Bethesda has set up the main story in a perfect spot for a big DLC to answer many questions and fill some holes. Tim Lamb also spoke about adding more to the in-game loop, and it appears with the introduction of the new X-Tech and the incursions in the Terra Armada DLC, that process is just getting started. He said going forward, they definitely want to build more on that. So it looks like the future of Starfield is very bright, and there's a whole lot to be excited for. Bethesda saying they are just now beginning a new era of content makes me super excited for the future. The potential for this game is truly unlimited. And not only do we have the DLCs and updates from Bethesda themselves to look forward to, we also get to look forward to the future collaborations between Bethesda and some very talented creators. With both content coming just from Bethesda and those very special creations, Bethesda is setting us up for more content in Starfield than we've ever had before. Thank you for getting your Bethesda news right here in the King's Corner. Hey, be sure you're subscribed if you love Bethesda, because remember, that's all I cover here. And before you leave, hit that like button and make a comment down below. Both of those things help this video get out to more people, and it sure helps my small channel. And if you really want to help, hit that hype button as well. I am the KingFanMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.